Good morning and welcome to Cindy's Kitchen. So glad to see all of you. I know it's kind of odd because earlier I did a whole video on tips and hints for beginners doing diamond dots. And several of you got on and went, where's the cooking, right? But it's 11 o'clock and it's Tuesday, and so here we are cooking on our regularly scheduled program. So, sorry if I threw some of you off this morning. If you're brand new, welcome. Cindy's Kitchen is a cooking community. We sit and chitty chat and laugh at each other and are silly and cook. But we share tips and hints and all kinds of great things like that. So welcome. If you're brand new, please say hello. Tell us where you're from so that we can greet you and welcome you to the family. Good morning, Julie from Northwest Houston. Kathleen, good to see you again. You guys, I feel bad because you guys were like already on once, right? Good morning, Nina. Good to see you. I have to tell you about my cup. So this Polish pottery pattern, more Polish pottery refers to this pattern as hidden dragonfly. It was, the diamond dots are fun, Julie. Good morning, Alice. Hidden dragonfly, as if, you know, like, where's the dragonfly? Where's the dragonfly? There's the dragonfly, right? When this pattern came out, it was my favorite. Hey, Debbie, good morning from Illinois. Oh, Mom, are you and Sue together? Good morning. Good to see both of you. Hi, Marilyn from Florida. Good to see you. And I saw that you're on, but you haven't said hello yet. Good morning, Janet. How do you send me a recipe? Janet, if you will go to Messenger, you can send it through Messenger. You can do it that way. Good morning, Linda Sue from Illinois. Good to see you. Kim's watching. Anyway, so this was like my favorite pattern when it came out. I just thought I loved all the different colors of blue in it, and I liked the hidden dragonfly. So there you go. Well, it must be a Mary Kay day for my mom. Joan, hello from Sandwich, Illinois. Hi, Ann. So hot. Oh, well, maybe the thunderstorms will cool it down, Ann. I am feeling a little better, thank you. Gail, it's beautiful in Chicagoland, 70s and low humidity. Wow, well, not in Texas. Kim, I do feel a little better. Thank you so much. And good morning. Cleanne, good morning. I like dragonflies too. It's just fun. It is a fun one. So, well, let's get started, shall we? Hey, Deb, good morning. Let us do our coffee clinks, shall we? Clink. I greet you with my coffee. So whether you're drinking hot tea or soda or water or whatever it is, thank you, Linda Sue. I figure you're an old expert. You probably didn't learn anything, but maybe somebody did. All right. Now, several of you were with me when we did our field trip to the, good morning, Sandy. Oh, Heather Lynn's on. Were with me when we went to Fiesta for our field trip. One of the things that I bought at Fiesta were tomatillos. Now, when I went back and looked, I made this recipe for Cinco de Mayo 2020. So not this year in May, Cinco de Mayo, but last year during COVID. Kathleen, I'm glad you learned a lot. So this is kind of a repeat, but if you haven't been with us since May of 2020, this will be a new recipe. If you already saw it, it's kind of a repeat, just for the tomatillo. Anyway, so a tomatillo looks like a green tomato. It comes in this kind of papery, it's got this like papery skin over the top of it. So, okay, and so you peel this off. You see how it comes off? And there's the little green tomato in there. That one has a spot on it, so I will cut that. I don't know if it's a, oh, it was just dirt. Okay, you just peel it off. Now, the thing is, when you're doing tomatillos, they're sticky. So you can just give them a quick rinse. The sticky doesn't do anything except get all over your hands and irritate you, okay? So that's one. Here's another one. See how the skin just peels right off? There you go. And that's what you want. See? all green and lovely underneath. All right, I'm gonna have Jessica just give these a rinse, just because they're sticky and icky. And I'm gonna use my wet wipe. Now, before you got here, I did a little pre-work. And I did a little pre-work just because it was slicing and dicing. And quite frankly, you can slice and dice, right? Everybody slices and dices. I got my cutting board and my knife and I went to town. Here's what I did. Oh, a baking sheet, a cooking sheet, a cookie sheet, whatever you call it, a sheet pan, whatever you call them. Do I buy them firm? Yes, they are firm. The thing you want to look for is the skin around it. Okay, so you see, was just starting to peel off. If it's a dark color and the skin is like pulled away all the way, then I don't like those. Okay, so here we go. I'm just gonna quarter them. All right. So if they're really large, maybe you wanna cut them in more pieces. Hey, Lori. But otherwise, I'm just gonna quarter. Okay. So I'm gonna cut those in a quarter. I need to sharpen my knife is what I need to do. Okay. All right, so quartered. So what I did before you got here, I missed a few. We were traveling. Oh, Anne, I'm a little jealous that you were traveling. I'm a little jealous. All right, I'm gonna move this just for a second. I gotta get it back in a bit, but, so here's my sheet pan. I'm gonna tilt you down just a wee tad, and then you can see what we've got on here. In the middle, I have all my tomatillos, and I wanna say we bought 10 or 15, 10, maybe 10. And I quartered them, unless it was really big, and then I cut it in a few more pieces, okay? This is one onion, and I've just kind of sliced it up, right? There you go. I've got quite a few cloves of garlic that have been peeled. You can use as much or as little as you want. And then over here, you'll see the red and the yellow. These were some tomatoes that were from our garden that have been sitting inside and needed to be used up. They were getting a little iffy, a little sketchy, like I had to cut some parts away. But that's okay. I'm gonna go ahead and just use just a little bit of both of those in here as well. You don't have to use extra tomatoes. You can just use tomatillos, but there you go. Now, before we put this in a 400-degree oven, which I have my oven preheated to 400 degrees, we need to season and oil these suckers down. All right, so you can use olive oil. I'm just gonna use canola oil. Hey, Terry, good to see you. Now, you know I say I hate when people do this on a cooking sheet because, you know, they tend to do this, but then it doesn't get on everything. I had all this separated out just so you could kind of see what all was on the sheet tray. You certainly don't need to separate it all out. Okay, you know what I am gonna do? I'm gonna do this. Because, you know I don't like to get my hands on. Hey Sue, good to see you. Glad you're with Mom this morning. Sue's my Mary Kay lady, and she's my mom's Mary Kay lady, so they're probably together. Okay, so now look at this. You don't have to be, you can say, Cindy, you can't touch oil. Well, I could, I just don't want to, because then I have to run over there, and it takes, you know, when you got oil on your hands, it takes longer to wash them, I think. Anyway, I'm gonna separate the onion out, right, because it's so that it's in pieces. Just so that it'll cook a little faster, all right? Once I've separated my onion, all right, I just wanna make sure that all the players, everybody in the pool has oil, okay? That's what I wanna make sure. You certainly could put this in a big bowl first, which is probably what I normally do, but there you go. All right, so here we go. Now we've got those all spread out. I'm gonna take this off. And then on with our seasoning. Now, obviously, wholly up to you, but here we go. I'm gonna do salt, okay? Salt, pepper for your poppycock, right? Pepper, a little bit more over here. You just wanna make sure everybody comes to the party. I'm also gonna use a little smoked paprika because you know I always do. Whoa, that came out. It's one of the reasons I like to stick my finger in there, my hand, and do this instead of just shake. I'm gonna use a little chili powder. La, 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 there you go, Lori. La, la, la. A little chili powder. And again, I'm building my layers of seasoning. And then finally, my favorite spice for Mexican food, ground cumin, okay? So there we go, ground cumin. And I have to tell you that with ground cumin and smoked paprika and chili powder, oh, it's like you walked into a Mexican restaurant. It is just lovely to die for. Yum, yum, and more yum. Okay, so I guess I should have left the glove on. I'm just gonna give it a toss. Doesn't really matter. Okay, make sure it's in a single layer. You don't want things like stacked up on top of each other because you want everybody to get the same ability to the heat, all right? 400-degree oven, and we're gonna put this in. Look how lovely that is. That's it, okay? So that goes in the oven. Now, that has to cook for about 10, 15, 20, it depends. I'm gonna look at it, but it's probably somewhere between 10 and 20 minutes, all right? So what are we gonna do? Whilst we wait for that, do we just sit here and talk and drink coffee? Of course not, silly. Cleanne's here, and Alice, hello. All right, so what I thought we'd do is a little dessert. Now, I don't know about you, but I like Danishes. Do you like Danishes? This is kind of a faux Danish, F-A-U-X, a fake Danish. Partly because I'm lazy. What, Cindy, you're lazy? Yes, I'm lazy. And second, you know, we're just gonna go with the flow. All right, so the first thing we need is some blueberries because I'm gonna make a blueberry Danish. I did not rinse these and probably should just so I can make sure the stems are off. Okay, Jess is gonna take it. So I just got that little container of blueberries and I can go ahead and add everything else that I'm gonna add to this except for the blueberries while Jess washes the blueberries. I've got a 1/4 cup of water. In we go. A 1/4 cup of water. I'm gonna use, should I measure? No. About of a 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon. Now I'm using Saigon cinnamon, which to me is the best kind of cinnamon ever, right? So about a 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon. And then I'm gonna add, how much am I gonna add? I'm gonna add 3 tablespoons of honey. You can add any kind of honey you want. If you don't have honey, you can substitute with a 1/4 cup of just white granulated sugar. That would be fine. But I've got this Polish honey, and I just think it should be used. What about you? Don't you think it should be used? All right, let me get a spoon. Hold on. Okay. The good thing about this honey is it's very thick. It's a thick honey, which I mean, to me, that just sends me over the top, right? Look at that. That is a thick honey. I got you hooked on Saigon cinnamon. Well, that actually is Joanne Kazanowski's fault because she sent it to me. All right, so about 2 or 3 tablespoons of whatever kind of honey you have, okay? Actually, probably 2 tablespoons is enough. But you know me and my sweet tooth. So there we go. All right, so I have dug out. Okay, we'll just do it this way. There we go. Oh, now I have to lick the spoon, don't I? Although, you know, people get upset when I lick the spoon, but there we go. That Polish honey is I think it's way different than just regular hero honey. To me, it tastes creamier. Like, do you get that? Instead of just like the honey taste, it's granular because it's thicker, but it also almost has like a creamy taste to it. Anyway, all right, Jessica has been a lovely sous chef. Look at that, our blueberries are nice and washed. This was just that small container that you get at the grocery store, and in it goes, all right? The only other thing I wanna add, and I'm gonna do it at the end, when we're almost done, is a little lemon juice. Obviously, if you have a fresh lemon, that would be the way to go. I do not, and so I'm using the squeezy bottle. All right, so I'm gonna put this over on the stove, and I'm gonna bring this to a boil. Boiling. All right. There we go. All right, so we're gonna bring that to a boil. Woo! I like the thick, creamy part of it too, Kathleen. It's good. All right, so whilst, isn't that a great word? Whilst we're waiting, I always make such a big mess. I really do. Like there's stuff everywhere. All right, but whilst we're waiting, we'll get to the bottom part of the pastry, okay? I know that we could make pastry. I know that we could mix it all together and roll it out, but what am I? Lazy. And I don't know, I just think, so I'm using puff pastry sheets, okay? Obviously you have to thaw these out, which I did, but I probably left them sitting out too long. All right, so here we go. Oh, it is kind of soppy wet. See, that's what happens when you take it out of the freezer and just set it on the counter. Hey Jess, maybe the flour container? Yeah, because this is a little soppy and I don't want it sticking to a bunch of stuff. All right, so I'm gonna move this over here and I'm gonna put just a little bit of flour. You just happen to have puff pastry sheets. Well, look at that. Okay, so I'm just gonna put a little flour on the counter so that this doesn't stick, okay? Take the paper off, unroll, take the paper off. There we go. I'm gonna flip this over, a little bit more flour. Just again, because I don't want this sticky. Now, if you happen to have a rolling pin handy, you certainly can roll this out just a little bit more if you so desire. I do not so desire. I always do too, Janet, because it's like pie crusts and puff pastry. I try to keep in the freezer all the time, right? All right, I am not gonna roll this out because it has lines. Now, you guys know this, but it has the lines from when it was folded, right? And so there it is. So it doesn't require a great deal of work on my part. I am gonna go ahead and pull the other one out just because we'll do them both at the same time. I mean, if I'm making a mess on the countertop, might as well just go. See, when we unfold it, we have these creases, right? And normally what we would do is we would roll that out so we didn't have creases, right? But I don't care about that because I'm gonna use the creases to my advantage today. All right, and here are the advantages. Hold on, let me take a gander. Look, starting to boil. Can you see the yumminess? Can you see that? So it's starting to boil. Now it's on high. I probably am going to let this boil. Maybe turn the heat down just a little bit because I don't want all of the juice to come out. A little, but still pretty high temperature. All right, and we're gonna let that cook. Now, it does make great turnovers, I agree. Okay, so remember when I said these have the lines, right? So I'm gonna use the lines and my pizza cutter. You could use a knife. You don't have to use a pizza cutter, but again, whoosh, here we go. There's already a line right there, so I'm just gonna go straight up the line. Straight up the line. Now I have 3 long ones. I'm gonna do this other one. Okay, so now we have 6 rectangles, all right? You can do these as large or as small as you want, but I'm just gonna do them in half. So I'm gonna hit the halfway mark, and then I'm gonna go straight down the middle all the way across, and poof, look at that. They're not all exactly the same size, but there we go. All right, so you see? This is gonna be our little Danish. They're gonna be rectangles. Now, the next step in prepping these is I'm gonna go ahead, because it's just as easy to do it over here, and put these on my parchment paper on a baking sheet, okay? You know that they're gonna puff up, so they need to be, I'm hoping I can get them all on here, but if not, no, I'm not. I'll have to get another baking sheet with some more parchment paper. So maybe I'll just spread them out since I have to spread them out anyway. Yeah, we'll do 4 on here. Then I'll do the other 4 in a little bit. Okay, so let me pull these up. I'll put these on a separate one in just a bit. All right, so we have I have 8 on here, but I'm gonna end up with 12. I'm gonna end up with 12, okay? So there, we have 8. Now you need a knife. A knife. Here's the thing. Picture, if you will, a picture frame. That's what we're wanting. We're wanting a picture frame. So I want you to think about, I don't know, maybe a 1/2 inch in. Okay, and we're not gonna cut all the way down, but we are going to make the little indentions so that, let me show you. I'm gonna do it and then I'll show you so it's you can get a better idea. Okay, look at that. See, it's like a little picture frame. Now we're not gonna cut it out. This is where all our good stuff is gonna go, okay? Hey Sharon, did you guys, I know that yesterday was Heather's birthday. Did you guys have a fun family day? I sent her a happy birthday. All right, so we're just gonna make picture frames on each one of these. Picture frames, perforated. There you go, Vicki. All right, let's check the blueberries. Oh, they're boiling. Okay, I'm gonna turn them down. Once they're really boiling, I'm gonna turn those down just a wee tad. All right, yeah, kind of like we're perforating, yes. But you know, making a picture frame sounds more fun to me. What is your favorite, do you have a favorite thing that you make with puff pastry dough? I think my favorite thing to make, I don't know what yours is. Tell me what your favorite thing to make with puff pastry dough. My favorite is everything bagel breadsticks. That is like by far my favorite thing. Hey Irene, good morning. Thing to make. Okay, now I have 4 picture frames. I have 4 more to go. So this takes a little bit, but you know. I kind of thought, wouldn't it be cool if I had like a cookie cutter that was rectangle that I could put in here, but I didn't, so there you go. Just a little picture frame. You've never used puff pastry dough. Oh, I think it is like the bee's knees. Puff pastry dough is the bee's knees. I love it. And like I said, especially I love everything bagel breadsticks. They're so good. I think I've done them on the show twice before. I try not to do things more than twice. I mean, I don't mind if I repeat something. I mean, quite frankly, in 250 shows, if I didn't repeat something, come on. Okay. Still, I'm on my last picture frame. Cheese straws, yum. Yes, those are good, Terry, cheese straws. We need to make those. All right, so now I have 8. How about a rectangle shaped pottery dish pressed down? Cleanne, that would have been smart. You know what, I wonder. Well, it would have been a little too small, but almost the right size. You're right, I should. Oh, well, you make puff pastry dough from scratch? Oh my gosh. All right, so I have 8. Would you get me another one of these with more parchment paper so I can do the other 4? And then I've made picture frames in each one of them. Now, let me check the blueberries. All right, we're gonna let these keep cooking. So you see how they're very liquidy, but they've already started to break down. All right, you wanna take your spoon once you're to this point, and I'm using a wooden spoon, well, a bamboo spoon, and you wanna take and just drag your spoon to the side of your pan and give it a little squeeze, all right? Because at this point, you know, there's no need to like do one of those. It's just a gentle pull and then just press it against the side. And that'll break up enough of them, but it won't break all of them. And so you'll still have some pieces, which I think is a good thing. All right, I'm gonna let it keep cooking until it thickens up a wee tad. All right, here, would you put those on there and draw little picture frames? Okay. All right, so now, you got some stuff, you have some options at this point. You could make your very own cheesecake, like, you know, cream cheese, powdered sugar, and vanilla. You could mix that up and use that here. Normally, at the grocery store, buy the cheesecake, they have a tub of cheesecake already mixed up. And that's what I really wanted. But lo and behold, the grocery store did not have that. Boo-hoo-hoo. So, because you know me, I'm like, I am coming up with something else. So I thought it would be cool to use these flavored cream cheeses. So this one is blueberry cream cheese, and this one is honey pecan cream cheese. Yum! And so here's what I'm gonna do. Oh, it smells so good. I'm gonna get just a small spatula. You could use a spoon. All right, and you want to leave this setting out just till it comes to room temperature so it's not so stiff, right? Because you want to spread it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to spread it inside our picture frame. Probably, so how much, Cindy? I would say maybe a tablespoon that we're going to put in there, all right? And so this is the honey pecan, and we're going to spread that. Well, maybe I needed a spoon or a knife. Maybe a knife. There we go. Sometimes a little hard to spread because of the flour, right? Yeah, let me use a knife. So look at this. So that's a little easier. And then you can get it in your little picture frame, okay? That's easier. All right. If it goes outside your picture frame, it's okay. There's no Faux Danish police coming after you. All right? All right, so I'm gonna do half of these with the honey pecan, yum, and the other half with the blueberry. So, Jess, do you wanna do the blueberry over there? Mm-hmm. Okay. So Jess has got 4 of them over there, and she's gonna do the blueberry in there. And again, if you think this is too much, if a tablespoon is too much for you, you can do less. If it's not enough for you, you can do more. Wholly up to you. This is your Danish. It may be your Christmas-filled cookies. Thank you for sharing, Vic. Appreciate it. I met Vicky, actually. I met her through my sister long ago and far away. But then she also, just like Rebecca and I and several other people that watch, she also was on in Homemade Gourmet with us. So, all right, there we go. That's number 3. It takes a while, right? It takes a while. So it didn't look like many of you use puff pastry, or you were just being quiet about it. You didn't want to share your top secret recipe. Which is fine. Which is fine. Okay. I feel like, I almost feel like I'm painting something, you know? Where you gotta smooth it out. Okay. It isn't very pretty. I'm not being pretty. Because you know, I'm making you hungry? Well, that's a good thing, I suppose. You know, there are people, we've talked about this in the past, about how baking is more of an art form, I think, for me anyway. And cooking, no, I'm sorry, baking is more of a science, right? because you got to be particular about how much you put in and what the interactions of the baking soda and the baking powder and the yeast and, you know, all that stuff. Whereas cooking is more kind of an art thing where you just, you know, shove some paint up against there and poof, it's art. You don't have to measure. It doesn't have to be anything in particular. You just kind of go with the flow. And so I'm kind of a just throw it up against the wall and see what happens kind of girl. So that's why I usually don't do anything with baking. Hence why I'm using pre-made, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so I'm gonna do these other two. So we have an equal amount of blueberry and honey pecan on here. Look at that blueberry. At first, I wasn't gonna use the blueberry because I thought that might be overwhelming, right? Blueberry cream cheese and a blueberry compote. But if you really like blueberry, it's kind of like chocolate. Is there such a thing as too much chocolate? I'm not so certain. Like if you had chocolate cookies, chocolate cookies, I don't think that's bad. If you had brownies that had chocolate chips and big chunks of chocolate, I think that's good. I don't think that's bad at all. Not certain if we're gonna have a show on Thursday. We will see. I have my infusion at the hospital on tomorrow. Oh, you know what? We're gonna, no, I'll just leave these. All right, so here we go. We have two different, you cut up the pastry in rounds, put caramelized onions and mushrooms. Yum. Did you see the puff pastries we did with the mushrooms and then we did one with asparagus? That was pretty. All right, so here we go. These are our cutouts with the cream cheese, the flavored cream cheese on top, although you could use a cheesecake mix on top as well. Okay. Now look at this. Is that something? Look at that. Now it's not as thick as I'd like it to be. I could put something in there as a thickener and thicken it up, but instead what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna let it sit there just for a second. And while it's setting there, I'm gonna do my edges. Now, I have a little cup here that has an egg in it. An egg, one egg. And I have a little pastry brush here, the plastic kind. All right, so I'm gonna just mix my egg up, okay? Mix, 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 mix. Okay, so there's my egg. La and la. All right, and so then, here's what I'm gonna do. Should I pick it up so you can see? Yeah, I'm gonna pick it up. I will pick up the blueberry one. Okay, so here we go. And I'm gonna take my little brush and I'm gonna brush the edges. And you're gonna say, but why, Cindy? And I'm gonna show you in just a second. I always, when I was watching, but when I first started cooking and I would watch people do this, I was like, do I have to do that step? Because that's kind of a pain in the patukas. It takes a while. And I am a dump, mix, and go kind of girl. All right, see? See, we got that all on the side? Okay, I'm gonna do this with all of them. And, you know, it's one of the reasons I like to cook more than I like to bake, because I don't like to measure. I really like to just dump in a big bowl, give it a stir, and either stick it in the oven or stick it on the stovetop and walk away.
Science and math is for school, not for cooking.
Oh, Jessica says science and math is for school, not for cooking. Ah, unless you were a doctor. Science and math is definitely for doctors, right? Because, you know, you got to use that every day. Okay. Although I used to take the kids to the grocery store, and do you remember when they used to have great, like, double and triple coupons? Do you remember that? I loved that. Now, I wasn't crazy, like, you know, crazy girl where I have, you know, a whole basement of food that we'll never eat with the coupons. But I did utilize double and triple coupons. And so what I used to do is I'd take the girls to the store with me. and I would have our coupons. And so the first thing I would do is I would have the girls look at how much something cost, right? And then we would apply the coupon. All right, so if it was a triple coupon and it was 20 cents, so then they had to take the price and then subtract 60 cents, right? Because it was triple. So now they had to use subtraction. Then I would have them, because we still needed to see if it was a good deal, I would have them look at the how many ounces it was, right? And divide the number of ounces into the price. And that way we could see what the price per ounce was. Because, you know, a lot of times something looks like it's a good deal, but when you actually look at how much it is per pound or per ounce or something like that, it's really not a good deal. And so now we have division. So we had subtraction, addition, division, so I thought, and multiplication, because, you know, 2 times or 3 times. And so they stopped wanting to go to the grocery store with me. Math again, Mom? Well, because, you know, they would always come home from school and say, why do we need to know this? We'll never use this. Did your kids ever say that? We'll never use this. Although I am still a firm believer that I don't use geometry. I didn't do well in geometry. I did okay in calculus, and I did okay in trigonometry, but did not do well in geometry. I don't think I have spatial reasoning. Is that it? I'm not certain. I'm more linear. Is that what it is? I'm a linear thinker and not a spatial thinker. I'm not certain if that's it or not. You guys are being awfully quiet. Usually there's chitty chat going on. Okay, if you'll do this. All right, so there we go. We have put the little egg wash on the outside of each one of them. Yum. Now let's get our blueberries. I'm going to get, it's thickened up. Look how it's thickened up. All right, look at it. It's a little thicker. Look at that. All right, so I am actually going to use the slotted spoon just because I don't want a lot of juice running out, right? All right, so here's our blueberry, and I'm going to put this just right on top of our, and again, you know, maybe a tablespoon of it. We don't need a whole lot on there because it's yummy and it's going to run just a little bit anyway. Just right there in the middle on top of our cream cheese, our flavored cream cheese. How lovely is this? It smells delightful. Oh, you know what I didn't put in there is the lemon juice. But it's okay. Doesn't matter. If you want to add the lemon juice, it tends to make it just a little brighter, especially if you're going to use this on ice cream or something like that. But I think we'll be okay without the lemon juice because I forgot and it's kind of late. All right, so in the middle we go. In the middle we go. Yummy. All right, so there we go. Are you looking at that? And we're going in the oven, 350 degrees for about 10, 15 minutes. Now you say, what do we do for the next 15 minutes, Cindy? And the answer is, we switch back to our tomatillo sauce, right? Our green sauce, that's what we switch back to. Cleaning up the mess. Cleaning up the mess. All right, and I'm moving my blueberries back over. Oh no, I'm moving the blueberries to Jess. Oh, no. Doggone it. I forgot something. Hold on, I gotta get this out of the oven. Why? Oh my goodness. Are you guys laughing at me? Why in the world did I put that egg wash on the side? And the answer is, I have this Turbinado sugar. This is like big sugar. Big sugar. I had never seen this until I went to England. This is big old sugar, and it's brown. It's not brown sugar, but it's big old. And I'm gonna dust this on the edges, although you can put it all over if you so desire. but I'm gonna put this on the edges, and that will give us just a teeny tiny little crunch on the side. I mean, how fun is that? Again, if you wanna just go crazy and put it all over, that's fine too. But the whole reason for the egg wash is so that there would be something for the sugar to stick to. There we go. Gosh, are you guys laughing at me? I get carried away. Nobody's responding. I get carried away on stuff, and then I forget. Just like I forgot the lemon, but you know. All right, and you can find this Turbinado sugar anywhere, like at the grocery store. Buy the regular sugar on the baking aisle. The first time I saw it, I was actually at Oxford, and every evening after dinner, we stayed in the dorms, and then we ate in the grand dining rooms. And every night after dinner, we went to like a little lounge area, and we had a cup of tea, okay? And of course, I've told you, they ask you, do you want black tea or white tea? White tea is just with milk or cream, whatever. And then they had the sugar sitting there, and this was the type of sugar, this big, brown, large crystal sugar that I had never seen in my entire life. Now, you gotta understand, I pretty much grew up in not a huge town, Enid, Oklahoma, but you know, it's not like we had huge international foods available way back then. A spot of tea, there we go. You're all the same. A spot of tea. Anyway, and so I was so like, oh, I thought it was like this cool thing that nobody had ever heard of. Of course, you know, then you come back and everybody goes, yeah, of course I know what that is. I thought my mom was gonna be like, oh, wow. Yeah, they already knew what it was. Okay, I'm almost there, hold on. I just want this is really good on sugar cookies. I was wondering if you're putting pastry on top like a turnover. That we could have done that too, but I did not. And I did not. We could have done that, but I didn't do that because I only had one package of puff pastry dough. So there you go. Huh? We have done turnovers on the show. You are correct. Okay, there we go. Okay, now, is it hot? No. Now we go in the oven. All right. Oh my goodness. Woo! And you know what? I'm running late. Sorry, I picked two recipes that really kind of take too much time, I suppose. All right, let us get our tomatillos. All right, you saw what they look like when we put them in. Look at all that lovely juice. You see, the tomatillos are all soft, the tomatoes are, the onions, the garlic, everything's smushy and has released its juices. Oh yes, on scones and muffins, Terry, yes. All right, so I have to tell you, this is a phenomenal smell. I wish we had smell-o-vision. I really do, because this is like over the top. Oh my gosh, I wish you were here. All right. If you have a food processor, you could use a food processor. I'm using the big old Ninja blender. Wholly up to you, what you have, what you feel most comfortable using. Okay? Now the hard part is to get this into here. I am going to use, what am I going to use? I think I'm going to use a spatula. You know what? I'm going to take this off. Oops. I'm going to take this off, set it here close, and then I'm going to do a scoop. Okay? So basically, you could try to pour it, but don't get burned, because this is still very hot. You could let it cool if you want, but if I let it cool, we'll be on this show all day. Then I would have done the diamond dots, and cooking would have taken hours. And then the whole thing about Cindy's Kitchen being quick would have been a big no-no, right? It would not have been quick. I mean, easy, but maybe not quick. But you saw it didn't take that long, right? Okay, so in the blender we go. I am not going to get rid of any of this lovely juice that came out of our tomatillos or our tomatoes or onions or garlic. I'm keeping it all. The only thing that is not in this particular recipe that will be in the recipe that I post online, and it is, I forgot to put it in here. I'm bad about this today, right? I think I'm getting old. Is a jalapeno. I forgot to put a jalapeno in here. So it won't be as spicy as it normally is, but that's okay. All right, all of the big pieces are in there. I'm gonna tilt this down so that I can get all the juice from the tomatoes and everybody, because really, come on, flavor. It's not too hot anymore. And I'm gonna pour that in there. Okay, so that's in there. Now, now to this, we're gonna add just a few things. Sure, I'm sweating. Can you tell? I'm sweating. Oh, bad day. Okay, I'm gonna need some lemon. You can use fresh lemon, or you can use cheater lemon juice. About a tablespoon. If you don't have lemon juice, you could use vinegar. That will work as well. And I like vinegar in here. Now remember, I already put all my spices in here when I seasoned my veggies. So I really don't have to add any more spices. I probably am gonna add just a wee touch more of salt. Maybe a teaspoon. Only because. All right, and then we're gonna add some cilantro. Now, I normally add a huge bunch of cilantro, fresh cilantro. Sometimes 2, because I love cilantro. My cilantro plants are not doing well. This, I picked all the cilantro and that's all I got. This little tiny bit, which makes me oh so sad. So instead of cutting it, I'm just gonna twist and dump this in here. And just for a little extra flavor, I'm gonna add some coriander. Dried, which, you know, coriander is kind of dried cilantro, so there you go. All right, so let me get the coriander. Hello, herbs. Paprika, basil, pesto, sheep, or no, must be on this one. Ground coriander, there we go. Huh? Oh yeah, or you could use dried, but I'm just gonna put some coriander in there just because I am a big cilantro. If you have dried, you could use that too. All right, now, on we go with the show. No. All right, so that's got clicked on. We gotta put our lid on and lock her down. All right, you ready? Big loud noise, and here we go. Now, normally this is considered a green sauce. Do you see that it's more of a yellow orangish color? And that's because I added a yellow tomato and 2 red tomatoes. So not like a bright green sauce anymore. Okay, I don't like chunky sauce. I like everything to be all yummy. Oh, and it's hot. Yum. Okay, let's taste. It's very good. Yeah. Good. I would like more cilantro, but there you go. Now, this is a perfect sauce to put over chicken or pork or steak or veggies. It adds a really nice flavor as a sauce to any of those, just like it is. But I want a dip, okay? Because that's the thing that I eat all the time. So for the dip, I'm gonna need like a cup. I know it's a lot, right? But sorry, a cup of mayo. Now I'm using, and I'm not measuring, I use a Miracle Whip, I suppose. It will make it sweeter. So that's wholly up to you if you want it sweeter, right? So if you want it sweeter, you could use like a Miracle Whip. I'm just using actual mayo, all right? All right, now, lid back on. Which way? This way. Lid back on, and now, here we go again. Ready? Uh-oh, look at that. It's coming out the edges. All right. Now, this gives us our dip. It's a little thicker, and it will thicken up in the refrigerator. Yum. So good. If you wanted to make this into a dressing, if you wanted it thinner, then you can add a little milk, and then that will give you a thinner, so it'll become a dressing. All right, so let me show you. How would we serve this, Cindy? How will you be eating it for lunch, Cindy? And here's the answer. I'm gonna show you just a second. All right, so this is like I know that this thing is created to like have olives or pickles or mayonnaise or mustard or whatever. But for me, this is my individual chip and dip plate, right? It is really good. A tomatillo sauce is excellent on enchilada scale. All right, so, but what I would do, because it's me, all right, I'm gonna take the stick out, but I don't wanna lose too much. There we go. Okay, take the stick out. Look, and now I have it all over me. Not really a bad thing, I'm just saying. All right, and then I will pour some right in there. Now I think it's better after it's set, you know, so like you put it in the refrigerator and let it set so that it gets cold, because this is still warm from being in the oven. But there you go. Now you can either have a nice little spoon in here if you so desire, right? Or you can just take your chips and dip up. Again, once this goes in the refrigerator and sets for a bit, it'll thicken up. So that's my lunch. Yum and yum. All right, time to check our turnovers. Let me move this. We're almost there. We need just like, I don't know, 5 minutes. Can we wait 5 minutes? Oh, while we're waiting, anybody watch the diamond dot thing this morning? Anybody watch the diamond dot thing? So good. If you watch the diamond dot thing this morning, I finished the one I was working on. This is the one I was working on. I finished it. Ta-da! That's the one I was working on. I just had S and T to finish, and so there you go. I finished it. Ta-da! Now I have another one. See, I bought this. I like matchy. So I tend to get themes. So I finished this one, and now I'm started to work on this one. Isn't that pretty? See, these are little, but they're all about the moon. So I just finished that one, and now I'm working on this one. In case you were wondering. You probably weren't, but just in case. Vinegar I think it needs vinegar. Taste. You know what? We're gonna add just a little bit of white vinegar and give that a stir. The lemon juice wasn't enough acid. And some of that you just have to taste. I'll put that on the instructions. You gotta taste it. If you feel like it needs just a little bit more of a tang, now it could have been because it's this instead of an actual lemon. Or, you know, tomatillos and tomatoes and onions, it's not like it's the exact flavor profile every time, right? So I'm just gonna put a tablespoon in there. And Oh, that had honey on it. We certainly can't do that, right? Let me stir it up now. So sometimes I just taste. Sometimes I say, oh, that needs some sugar. Or, because you're like, oh, it's too much acid, it needs sweet. And then sometimes it's like, no, it needs more acid. Okay. That's what it needed. Though I still think it needs more cilantro. And we didn't put a jalapeno in there. Because normally it's like biting me at the back of my throat going, whoa! But it did it this time. So there we go. All right. But that doesn't mean I can't eat more. All right, then check on our Danish. Would you get me a small plate, please? Yeah. Okay. They ran a little bit. Does that bother you? Does it bother you that they ran a little bit? It doesn't bother me. Here we go. We're gonna get a pretty little plate. This one is the most done, so it is the one I'm gonna pull off. Now we really need to let these cool. I mean, honestly, should we be eating something that has all this heat, thank you, sweetheart, and burn our mouth? Should we? Oh, I need a fork too. Should we do that? No. It is beautiful. The plate or the Faux Danish? I think I will anyway. You know me. I don't always do what's good for me. But, we should let this cool. Because when we let things cool, it all sets up. Oh my gosh, though. Okay, I just cut this. Oh, okay, I'm eating from the middle, just in case you were curious. I'm eating from the middle because I just cut, and between the blueberry and this one is the honey. Look. Oh, that cream cheese in there, the fresh blueberry compote on top, that lovely puff pastry. I'm gonna burn my mouth, aren't I? I am. Oh, burn my mouth. Oh my. Oh my. I can't wait to taste the blueberry one. This one, because I can taste the honey pecan and then the blueberry compote. Delightful. So yummy. All right, so for my lunch today, I have a lovely roasted tomatillo sauce with some chips. This is my lunch. And for dessert, look at this. And that sugar has hardened on the side there. Okay. Now I just have to taste the sugar. So good. I wish you were here and I could share this with you. So anyway, thanks for cooking with us today. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for cooking with us. And I hope you enjoyed it. Again, not really sure about Thursday's schedule. Tomorrow I go to the hospital for my infusion for my psoriatic arthritis. And so not certain how I'm going to feel on Thursday. If I'm feeling okay, we'll be here on Thursday. Dangerously delicious. I like that, Clem. So if I make it through okay, I'll be here on Thursday. If not, I'll see you on a different day. All right? You guys have a lovely day. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you when I see you. Bye-bye.